This episode was insanely emotional, exciting, devastating, horrifying, a little bit of everything. The big thing that really got me in this episode is without a doubt Pekko and Karyl going up against each other. It was a fight that was probably going to happen at some point unless somehow they were both able to get everything out in the air without this horrible scumbag overseeing everything. But to see the puppet strings really come out in this episode, I mean, the ring has always been trouble, teleporting at the worst possible moments, causing things to happen in such a just devastating way, to then seeing a girl who has so much kindness and compassion in her heart forced to attack innocent civilians, because now the cat's out of the bag, that the princess clearly is not the right princess, this is not the right ruler. I mean, why would a beast be controlling the kingdom of humans? Nothing's lining up, memory alteration, and to see how they did such a great bait and switch in this episode, probably one of, if not the best they've done, where you have like the Rosetta Stones, right? The stones are basically broadcasting a message, and the idea of like trying to announce that there's a fake here. Like, this is a fake, the real one's out there. Of course, you know, we're building up. Okay, heroic stuff's gonna happen. You're assuming she's gonna go, she's gonna cut the strings away, whether metaphorically or actually doing it. But nonetheless, like, she'll be free, right? She won't have to attack innocent civilians anymore because she clearly doesn't want to. And then the strings come in and she's forced and she's saying, please destroy me, anyone. And then you get this heroic yet almost kind of deadly situation where it feels like, okay, now everyone knows the truth. She's back to reclaim her kingdom, but can she save her without killing her? And I mean, most likely, but it's still, I mean, look at last week's episode. They literally killed off someone I wasn't expecting. So it's one of those things that they've established death is something that can happen, and that's what makes it pretty devastating. I really hope we're not going to have a bittersweet end between these two, because I would love to see the fake get killed and Karyl be free and actually serve maybe the real true heir to the throne here, but that might be wishful thinking at this point. But to see that tension and the tears, I mean, at first I thought it was going to work out when she basically had her pinned down and she was talking about the Gourmet Guild, all those times we spent together, you know, the flashbacks, right? We're seeing all the times they shared together. You don't want to do this. And I was like, oh, that's going to work. She's going to, you know, basically admit that I don't want to fight you. I don't want to hurt people. And then, yeah, maybe the fake's going to do something that could kind of control her. But the fact that of her own free will and kind of like loyalty, she actually started to fight back against it was just heartbreaking. I mean, we knew the end game here was going to be a little heartbreaking after last week's devastating finale. I mean, you don't just destroy and kill like that unless things are about to hit the fan. But seeing just all the characters run away in fear, I mean, Mondays are emotional right now. The past two Mondays between Bisco and Princess Connect is insanely devastating, is to say the least. But I love what they're able to do with that emotion because it's been something that's needed to be resolved for some time. I mean, we've been building up the conversation, but unfortunately said conversation ended up as a fight, the only way it was ever going to happen from Karyl's point of view. And the idea of basically serving the person who's pretending to be you and, you know, feeling like we are friends, sisters, but my loyalty is forced here. And even when she says she no longer wants to hurt, she's literally controlled like a puppet. So it's one of those things that, I mean, hopefully they can cut the strings, save her life, cut her head off, because, I mean, that she needs to go. Every time they focus back in on her, just to see the fake there, I mean, just the smugness. I mean, at first appearing like a video game, like, game master saying, like, you're all gonna die for me, and then just seeing the number of smug looks, heads needed to roll when I saw that. But one of the more interesting parts of this episode I found, it was a smaller part, was actually Yuki, you know, because this has been pointed out a couple of times over the comment sections here, is that when Yuki's around his group, right, he very much still has a similar persona, the kind of airhead, the dense, the clueless. But when he's talking to anyone else or even by himself, he very much seems like he's back to potentially who he was before the whole reset occurred. And we're starting to see him, like even in these life or death battles, very much break away from the facade he's been putting on, and we're seeing him pass out from most likely either memories coming in, overworking himself, who the hell knows, right? But if they can end this season in a hopeful note, I will be honestly shocked, because it feels like one death wasn't enough. They might kill someone else, even if it's not Karyl or Pekko or any of the one like that. it just feels like there's got to be something devastating still yet to come, and if not, I will be very, very pleasantly surprised to say the least. But this was a pretty crazy episode for production value once again. I mean, every episode that has any sort of fights looks great. The lighting effects and the way they detail the just glitchiness, it very much has a style that screams Princess Connect, and to see them all like rush in, whether it was kind of like an air attack or one of my favorite attacks in this episode is when this one character like turns them into food, like just pudding. Like that is like the best attack ever. If I could play a video game, you know, a very serious video game, and my magic attack turned everyone into puddings, that'd be like the best move ever. But it was great to see them all working together and the unique styles for all the characters' animations and just abilities. It was just so goddamn good. Though with that said, it very much feels like next week is gonna be bloody. I mean, I'm honestly surprised they didn't show us dead civilian bodies. I thought we were building up to that because there's no way you have that many people standing just a little bit behind, like say 100 feet behind where the swords and blasts are swinging and firing, and not have someone get caught up in that blast, especially when it was directed as if Karyl was hitting them on purpose. And then we realized, oh no, she was actually like missing them. She was firing, but she was missing. And yeah, they got a little dirty and they probably felt a little kind of like aftermath blowback, but they weren't actually getting hit. And then when the strings come in and she's like forced to fire upon them, that just has me worried. Like there's going to be so much, like even if people survive, like the amount of pain and suffering they're going to deal with is pretty insane. But it was nice to actually get a taste of the general side cast as well, because they've always been amazing, whether it's, you know, the two best bros just who pop up for comedic relief, or actually just start kicking ass. There's like one shot in the episode where he's like bashing one of the shadow monsters as, you know, big bushy and kind of afro beard man is just kind of like helping the general people there. It was just great to see all the numerous characters we built up over season 1 and now season 2, and see everyone aid in this kind of like search and rescue, fight back the menace, and as you just see like an endless swarm of shadows. Like it pretty much feels like an impossible force that, sure, you can continue to fight until you don't have any energy, but even if everyone picked up a sword, there's probably too many shadows to deal with. The only way to deal with it is to cut off the head of the snake, and the head of the snake is sitting very high up there against basically a forced puppet to use very powerful magic to stop you from coming anywhere close. It's going to be interesting. I feel like Yuki has a big role to play in this battle, but then again, that might just be wishful thinking, but given everything that's been happening with his memories, it feels like this might be a redemption moment for him, not failing once again like he did originally. Either way, I mean, the last couple of episodes are definitely shaping up to be pretty explosive, emotional, whether emotional for character deaths, or emotional because of good character resolutions. It's insane, but I am excited to see what's going to happen and how it's going to leave off for maybe even a potential season 3 down the road. But thoughts if you have any, either if you're fans of the game or your anime original like myself, what did you think? What do you hope to see with next week's episode? Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new around here. Until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.